Show is hosted by Tony Gapastione. Thanks for tuning in. It's showtime.
Hey, it's showtime. It is episode 293. We are working toward 300 episodes, which will go live at our BraveMaker Film Festival in July. This is Tony Gapastione. I am coming at you live from Redwood City, California. My pronouns are he, him, his. I'm a Caucasian guy wearing a white shirt today with my black glasses in my garage studio. I am now podcasting from home because we don't have a BraveMaker office space. That's a whole other story, but I'm in the garage space with my black step and repeat, basically from the film festival, lit up behind me with black and pink and blue and all the things. And I'm very grateful today to be talking to my friend who is an actor, a YouTube creator, and she's a producer, even though she's reluctant to do so. Belgica Rodriguez.
Hi, Tony. Hi, everybody. My name is Belgica Rodriguez. And like Tony said, I'm an actor. Fine. I'm a producer. I guess I produce all of my YouTube content, you know. And I am a very tall Latina with long hair, light complexion. I'm wearing a sleeveless turtleneck shirt, and behind me I have a blue backdrop as well as some shelves with lots of plants, acting books, and a light on it. And I'm so excited to talk to Tony today. And Tony, I am so very excited for whatever the new BraveMaker offices end up being. It's going to be even better than the last.
Thank you, Belgica. I have today a call with a potential space, one of many. There's like so many juggling opportunities, and we're also trying to rent the space for the film festival too. So I got a call about that yesterday. So it's just wild. We're 50. You texted me yesterday, 57 days T minus. I was like, yeah. What? My mind kind of blew a little.
56 days until the BraveMaker Film Festival, which if you guys aren't planning on going, please do yourself a favor and buy yourself an all access pass, because just really quick, let me tell them, Tony, the first year that I went, I was just curious and I was like, okay, wait, this is cool. I hardly knew any of the filmmakers behind the films. And then after mingling the entire weekend and, you know, continuing to be friends with these people and seeing them in different events, the second year I was in 4 films and maybe didn't audition for any others. And now this year I'm in 2 films, and I was looking at everybody that got selected for the films, and I got callbacks for at least 2 more, and then I auditioned for at least 5 more. So it's like you really can create such an amazing community by just going to the film festival and getting to know all these people versus, you know, just submitting to them on the casting website. So I super encourage you, if you're in LA, if you are in the Bay Area, Sacramento, whatever, it is so worth it. Go do yourself a favor and come to the festival and have a great time. Like, this can be your vacation / it's like a workcation, but a really fun one.
We don't pay Belgica to say these things, but we should. Thank you, Belgica, for doing that. Yeah, you are a great example of someone who knows how to build really great relationships. And you are an actor, you are a producer, and you see that value of what a film festival can be. I believe all film festivals should and can be this, but not every film festival is, because some of them are bigger and larger and the access is a little bit more limited, but we're trying to keep it real grounded and feeling that relational space that people can talk to anybody, you know, from the 30-year veteran director of television to the first-year actor / PA. So awesome. Thank you for that. And today we want to talk filmmaking because I know you've been on feature films. I'm in the throes of my second feature film, and I'm learning a ton. And there's a lot of things I'm already processing, from making my first feature film, Last Chance Charlene, in 2021, to now making my second feature film, 33 Days, here in 2025. A lot of time has passed, and I took a lot of notes my first film of things I wanted to make sure I replicated or never did again. And here I am in this space going, all right, I'm learning new things, and it's like always different. So I thought in real time, it would be cool to have some brutally honest truths around filmmaking. And so first of all, let me ask you, from your feature film making experience, being as an actor, I know you were doing a horror film. Is that right? I'm thinking that, like, last year?
Yeah, that was last year.
So as an actor, what are some things that, I mean, things could be universal filmmaking things in general, but that you've learned as an actor on set?
So as far as like feature films specifically, I have never been a like principal role where I had to be there for lots and lots of days. But what I will say is that in indie films, like I definitely always expect some kind of delay or canceling or something like that, because sometimes there's not as much money. So when there is an issue, it's like, uh-oh, we need to stop. Or there's not as much like infrastructure where the horror film that you're talking about, actually, the script, amazing, incredible. Like I want to reach out to one of the filmmakers and like see how I can help them, because it actually did get canceled. So they were filming for 2 weeks before me, and then I was supposed to come in on week 3, and production just got canceled. We all got sent an email saying like, I'm so sorry. I saw some drama online about like people not treating other people well, and it's tended to be the same person being pointed out. And I was like, excuse me. I was like, okay, it might be, one person who's bringing the production down as far as like how they're choosing to answer to things, because I think we are great people. We can also get very stressed and make choices that aren't good. And, it's really easy to take a lot of those things personally or be not as nice as you should be or respectful. So that's one of the things that I've learned is that, everybody's a good person, but sometimes because of the stress, because of all of the money and the probably years that they've been working on this production, unlike us actors who get auditioned and cast maybe towards the end, like I still know that we do so much work as actors, but as somebody who has now produced, like, wow, there's just like, you have been working on your current feature for like 10 years now. And it's just, I think just giving people grace, but also knowing when you really need to like speak up for yourself and demand more respect. But that is for me the biggest thing of like remembering the humanity behind the film and almost like acknowledging how much they deserve. Because I feel like sometimes we take our parents for granted, and then you're like, oh my gosh, I need to be nicer to my mom. I need to be nicer to my mom. And I think it's a similar thing with like filmmakers that have been like producing, directing, they've been working on this for so long. So we need to like not take them for granted and just see like, how can you help? Even if it's like, hey, I got you a coffee, or, you're doing really great, whatever, in an indie specific, because I haven't been on like a big, big budget film, but I think it's a lot about the humanity. Is that
yeah. No, it's good. We hopefully all of us in the entertainment industry, because we know there's so many horror stories of people not being so humane, right? But you kind of called off and ticked off a few different boxes. Like I hear you talking about scheduling, the challenges of being in and at this level in indie film with limited resources and money and all that kind of stuff. I want to chat about what I'm learning about preparation. So those of you who are out there and want to make a feature film, just really some brutally honest truths about things to get prepared for when it comes to the finances. The scheduling thing is also really wild. So I want to camp out there because you have been on the other side of someone scheduling from an actor perspective, right? And I'm on this side as a producer and writer of this film. And so many things keep changing that are just kind of out of our control. Some things were in our control, like we should have been able to plan better, but we're all doing this sort of part-time in a way. Sorry, I should say full-time with other full-time jobs. That's the thing, right? When I made my first feature, I looked back at my notes. I was like, one note I had was, don't take other jobs during the feature film production because I want to be fully focused. Well, that's kind of pie in the sky at my level because I need to take other jobs. Like I was pitching on a gig just 2 days ago. I'm delivering a final gig for a video that I wrote, directed, and produced today. I'm flying to LA tomorrow. It isn't possible for me to just fully focus on this feature film because I don't have that luxury, which kind of stinks, to be honest. I wish I could just be fully focused. I was shooting something for our BraveMaker Academy because that's part of my other job, if you will. So that is something that I go, man, schedule-wise and focus as a filmmaker, I would love to have had that. Now, the other challenge is you as an actor are getting a breakdown or cast. And I literally 2 days ago sent Belgica like, hey, can you send in a self-tape for this role? I wanted to get Belgica. I want to work with all my friends as actors in this film. And I didn't have anything until last week because an actor bailed out of a role because contractually some challenges had come up for her. So then we changed her role so that it wasn't specific to any ethnicity. Before it was connected to an Asian family. And now we took this role and put it into not any ethnic family. So I was like, well, cool. Then I can have Belgica audition for it. So you got this self-tape 2 days ago. If we book you, you might be working in 2 weeks. I mean, it's just wild how challenging it is with the schedule. And part of our team is really, frustrated with our own selves because we're going into summer and it's limited for some people because they have vacations and there's graduations. And so we're kind of feeling the strain of this challenging schedule, knowing that it's going to impact actors. And we've already cast actors in which they don't even have their final days confirmed yet because our schedule has had to jolt a little bit because of locations or finances. It really is like wild. Now, what could have made this better? Well, booking all of our dates months ago could have. That's maybe too pie in the sky and dreamy. We had to shift our schedule earlier than we wanted to because our lead actor is really a busy actor from Taiwan who's got a show that he booked that starts in mid-June. And so we had to move all of our schedule like a month in advance kind of thing. So there's just things you really can't always plan for when making a feature film. But if I could do something different, maybe those of you who are making your first feature, this is my second and I'm still learning, but try to have a schedule that doesn't have so many locations. Try and see if you can schedule things as close together as possible. Because we're all working different jobs, we're trying to just film on Thursdays to Sundays so that we can work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, so we have 20 days of filming happening on this round. And we're probably going to we will have to come back in October to do some more filming once our actor is released from his show. So that is just something I'm learning a lot about, like the scheduling. There's just so much that's out of your control. And in the middle of all the stress and anxiety, as you reference, if you can have grace for each other, take deep breaths, and remember that we are doing our dreams, we are living our passions, and we can manage that stress sometimes better when it's like the mindset of, oh, this is what I've prayed for. I wanted this. It's not going to be easy. So I don't know. It's so humbling because I feel like I'm a really straightforward and communicating well kind of organized person for the most part, but there's just so many factors sometimes that you just never know are going to impact you.
Yeah, something on the scheduling, two things. One, I think as an actor, if you do have on the schedule already your filming dates, that is so incredibly important. Last year, I booked one job when I had told them specifically, this day I'm filming Burned at the Brave, so we can't film. The producer was like, absolutely. Thank you so much. We'll make sure not to film that day. She sends me the contract and it's that day. And I'm just like, oh no. I'm like, I'm sorry. I can't. I've already said yes to being a producer on this and I'm the main actor. I can't. So I had to say no. Another thing happened again, a feature film where they didn't have the dates on the audition. And then now we wasted their time. We wasted my time, the director, the producer, me, because, we created a relationship. So that's not a waste of time. But during the callback, they were like, these dates. And I'm like, I'm gone for a month, we could have all just not done this. But I think just having that. And then as a producer, same thing that when we put dates down, those were the dates. This person can be there. Okay, we will substitute them with this person. Really, the only person that had to be there was me. Even if an actor wasn't available, we're like, thank you so much. I'm so sorry. We hope to bring you in for a different role, but we have to keep this date. This is the only date we can do it. So I'm wondering if you, in the future, if you set those dates and you're like, no matter what, unless the star from Taiwan or whatever ends up being, like, no matter what, these are the dates. and whoever can't be there, like somebody else needs to replace them. And I wonder if that would help bring everything else together into place almost, because that is such a huge thing, schedule, especially as an actor who auditions for a lot of commercials. You know, like tomorrow I have an in-person callback, and if I get it, it'll be a day before I potentially film with you. And it's like, okay, good. It's not the same day, but it's like so close. So what do you think about that? About putting it in stone and then
I mean, that's the dream, right? It really is kind of dreamy to go like, here is our set schedule. And I'm trying to think about like what we have encountered that maybe also connects to the financial things is there are always extra fees and maybe even hidden fees that all of a sudden pop up. So you have this schedule, and we only filmed 2 days. We've been doing so much pre-production. We filmed 2 days in LA at this really gorgeous space that cost quite a bit of money to rent, but it makes our film look like millions of dollars because the production quality, right? But then afterward, we start getting hit with, oh, we had to pay all this extra money for parking we didn't anticipate. They put us with, which this makes sense. They put us with a huge industrial cleaning fee. We were trying to clean it ourselves, which again, this is another thing, like my back, your body, all the things as indie filmmakers that you try to do to save money. At the end of the day, our team was like, we just have to we have to pay for their cleaning fee because there's no way we can do this huge industrial complex with our mop bucket that we're bringing from Home Depot. We literally bought that day. We need people who are professionals. And then we had a ton of payroll challenges. We are all producers. There's 5 of us producers on this project. I'm doing a lot of the casting stuff. I'm doing a lot of I wrote the script, so I'm doing a lot of rewrites, and we had a table read, so that's part of mine. Adrian is doing a lot of the SAG and actor communication, and we have another person who's doing, like unit production management, right? So who's going to take payroll? Well, 2 people can share the responsibilities. Well, that's a lot of work. And if you don't pay, we're a SAG ultra low budget film. If you don't pay on your deadline, you get even more fines. And then we were realizing, oh my gosh, because of SAG, which I'm a SAG actor, I love SAG and I want to be doing SAG work, we have to pay 21% on top of every single actor's day rate for their pension. We did not budget that. So all of a sudden, boom, 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 we have to hire a new payroll accountant, boom, boom, the money keeps going. And now we're like, wow, we're thousands of dollars out of pocket that we did not expect. So how is that going to impact next week and the following weeks? Well, we're going to have to adjust. Can we have a minimal crew? Can we do a different location? Can we do something, find another room in a current location that we've already booked and paid for that can relieve another day? Well, then guess what? That financial impact impacts our schedule, it's like the ripple effect. So I now have so much more understanding because I've been the actor who's been waiting for my call sheet. And actors, you all know this, actors, right? You're waiting by your computer. You're checking your phone. Where's my call sheet? Where's my call sheet? Where's my call sheet? Why haven't I had my call sheet? And you're going, this crew, this production, man, get it together. Meanwhile, they are like pulling out their hair trying to do everything on set, and call sheets are like, yes, they're important, but it's like the last thing sometimes on their mind. They're just trying to make sure they can have everything finished and organized to be able to roll cameras the next day. And so actors are usually the brunt of that stress when it comes to scheduling. And I have so much grace now and understanding for that whole process. So actors, it's not personal. It really, really isn't. We don't want to shake things up. We don't just think you're objects, although it sometimes feels like that when it's like, well, guess what? We canceled or we're moving locations. Now we have to put you on this other day. And you're like, my sister's graduating. I remember we were on a set with you for a short and your sister was graduating, remember? And we were like, okay, we have to do whatever it takes to make sure that Belgica can get out by this time. And we did it. I remember we did it and I felt great, but that's the life of an actor. It's really challenging. But imagine that on a feature film level and if you're a lead or even a supporting, it just feels like there's the brutal honest truth is it's just chaos. As much organization as you can be doing, there's still going to be a feeling of organized chaos.
Yeah, I think I'm going to start a list of things like whenever I feel annoyed at production, I'm going to start a list because I want us to in the future talk about the reason behind it. Because initially, yes, I can be like, oh, they didn't tell me the dates. Now I can't do it. It's so annoying. And then usually my next thought after that is like, okay, obviously it's not personal. Obviously there was an issue along the way. I know that this kind of stuff happens, so I think it'd be really fun for both of us maybe to keep a
Yeah.
list of things. And then like you're saying, like the whole call sheet thing. Yeah, I've heard actors complain about like, I didn't get my call sheet till like 11 a.m. and they wanted me there at 6. And it's like, yeah, like it's just part of it. And like you said, it's people are figuring out things. Are we even going to film with this actor tomorrow? Let's look at the pages, things like that. And I think it would be beneficial if you don't do it already. Because I have seen this in the past, and we did it for Bernadette the Brave, where we told them, you can expect your call sheet by this time. If you don't get it by this time, it means we are working on it. We're trying to problem solve, and we'll get it to you as soon as possible. And if it's somebody who has like children or like is a caregiver, things like that, we open the door that they can text us directly and be like, hey, I really need to go to bed. Do you have any estimate? And then we can tell them, yeah, you know what, your ETA is 8 a.m., but I'll text you, or like your estimated time of get to set is call time is 8 a.m., but we will text you, if anything changes, and we will only text you if it's like really important. We don't want to wake you up in the middle of the night, so just putting like a little message, because I think it's one of those things that you don't learn at an acting class unless you're at the BraveMaker Academy, because you do a short film at the end of that class, a lot of little things like that you don't expect, but are so real for almost every single production.
Okay, so many things to jot down here. If you're watching or just joining us live, Belgica and I are talking about brutally honest truths about feature filmmaking. Could be any filmmaking, but if you are about to embark on or want to make a full-length feature film, we're trying to drop some gems that could be helpful for you. And we just were talking about, scheduling. Just expect chaos, expect challenges. But if you are writing a film right now, or if you want to do your first feature, try and keep your locations limited. Try and get places that you can get for free. Now, this is our second feature film, BraveMaker's second feature film. It's my second feature film that I'm doing. I'm not directing this one. I just wrote it, and I'm producing and acting in it. My first one I wrote, produced, directed, acted, all the things. So I have kind of different things that I'm learning on projects. But let me speak to producing, and Belgica as the producer as well, as you're growing in that space. One of the things I try to do as a producer on this project is support the hell out of our directors. We have 2 directors, they're twin brothers, to try to do what I want producers to do for me. And producers, we just have to do everything. Like this weekend, part of my job as a producer is to shuttle actors to and from set, because we're shooting in an apartment building that has no elevator, 4 flights up, but looks super cool. And the actors are going to be at a hotel with hair and makeup. And we also have kids on set. So we have a studio teacher that we have to pay. That's another expense we're dealing with when you have to have kids that can only work a certain amount of hours, all this stuff. But producers have to be willing to do everything. And we're trying, our whole producer team is trying to make sure our directors can really just focus on telling the story and working with the actors. That's their main job. They have to be able to put that hat on. But our directors are also DPs, and they're probably going to be editing this thing too. So very, very indie. We're all doing and spinning lots and lots of plates. But I'm trying to figure out my role as a producer who isn't directing. And that really is to keep the energy high, have a great attitude, make sure I fill in gaps, make sure I'm thinking ahead about what a director might need, what I want a producer to do for me. And then when, because I don't want the director to be flooded with questions, ask, is there anything I could get? Do you need something? How are you doing? I'm making sure people are hydrated, waters, I'm making sure hair and makeup and wardrobe are all working cohesively, and trying to put out fires. And there are a lot of fires. I think a producer has to be willing and has to anticipate problems, solving problems. Even before Belgica and I got on this freaking live stream today, I was just laughing. This podcast we're doing live with our StreamYard app that we use here, software. It was not working. She couldn't see me, then she couldn't see herself, then I couldn't hear myself, and then like just things weren't working. Then I tried to log back out, log back in, and I'm like, well, I gotta see if I can get on my phone. I'm texting myself the link. It's like you just have to figure out, if this doesn't work, then what will? You're constantly trying to navigate a solve to every single problem. And if I'm like honest, I kind of like that. That's exciting. I don't want to sit at a desk and do nothing. I want to make things better and figure out how to move a project forward creatively. And as a feature filmmaker, it's like doing that for a whole month, 20 days, it's a lot. So the other thing is I'm taking my vitamins. I'm trying to make sure I'm working out. I'm trying to eat right. Because even though we have healthy options on set, sometimes you automatically go to the red vines or whatever, the crap. And I already feel only 2 production days in, my body has been like, not to mention I moved out of BraveMaker office 2 weeks ago, and then we're in these locations with lots of stairs. It's wild the kind of impact it has on your body. A short film over 2 or 3 or 4 days, it's a lot of work too, but sustaining and persevering through a feature film, I've heard a lot of feature filmmakers say it can wipe you out. It's super, super exhausting.
Yeah. I was going to ask about the whole SAG area, because I know you are a SAG ultra low budget, right? And if you did any meetings with SAG or anything, because I feel like SAG is always so willing to meet. It's like surprising. It's almost like when you first get your agent and you're like, I don't want to bother them. But once you like do quote unquote bother them, you contact them, they're like, oh yeah, let's chat. Did you guys talk to SAG? Were you guys just filling out the paperwork? Because this is your first SAG one, right?
My second. Last San Charlene was SAG as well.
Oh, it was? Okay.
Yes,
okay.
yes. So so we had a lot of experience there, but still, Belgica, there's still things that we're learning and things that we didn't quite know. And you're asking as many questions. You're having calls. It's not always easy sometimes to work with the guild because they have a lot of projects going too. But with like sometimes they send, it was like an 80-page document at one point that they sent, right? Because you have to do all this form filling out, and there's still things that aren't digital. It's still, you have to fill them out on paper, on the day, on set, schedule exhibit G. People are writing their time cards, and we did have a 15-minute meal penalty one day because you have to have a meal every 6 hours, and we went 15 minutes over, so everybody got $30 extra. So many things. So yeah, you just don't know what you don't know. Also, you're learning on the go. I'm also honestly like forgetful too. So people were asking,
so much going on.
Totally.
I would, not me putting more work on your plate, but I was going to say, if one of the days you have the opportunity, chance, whatever, to like take us through your day as far as SAG goes, like what SAG things did you have to do that specific day on your feature? I think that would be really helpful, because I've learned, like, I knew about the penalty, I knew about the 21%. I didn't know exactly how much it was, but I knew that you have to put money into their pension, because I've been on set and because I've heard of these things. And I actually have a meeting today with a SAG to potentially join SAG after finally as an influencer and actor, because they have influencer contracts now, and they have podcast contracts where your podcast SAG-AFTRA, what is it called? Signatory. Podcast. So that's all super cool, because I think it's really beneficial, because it's like, sometimes it's just pennies, but just putting some kind of money into your 401k, or putting certain rules so that you are treated well on set. Because I've definitely been burned on non-union sets where I'm like, wait, you're not going to feed me? We're here for 6 hours. Like, I need a meal, not because I'm spoiled, it's because I'm a human and I need to eat, or else I'm going to wilt like a flower.
Okay, this is I don't know what's the word? Feels a little slimy, but when you are on a SAG set as a SAG actor, yes, there are certain things that you are entitled to. And I've been on sets where, as a SAG actor, you have SAG actors eat over here and non-union eat over there, and they're getting bagged lunches with like apples and a white bread peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and we have literally like shrimp and wow, it's, I don't know, it feels icky and weird, but there is a hierarchy on set, and even in this feature that we're doing, there is some protocols like you have to be aware of. If you're a production assistant, I don't like it. If you're an extra, I don't like it, but crew has to eat first, so you have to like wait for the crew to put down their gear, take off their stuff from the cameras, and go into the line first, and you're kind of holding your paper plate going like, I gotta let them eat first. But there are certain things that are in place for a reason, for labor, guidelines and that kind of thing, that it's really important to know when you're doing a union film, that sometimes can feel a little icky or slimy, but that's why people aspire that want to be in the guild, because they want to get these protections and they want to get these perks, so yeah. So going back to the SAG stuff, it's a good point. I will try to give people a backstage tour, if you will, on some of the things that we're doing and I'm learning, and even show some of the paperwork so people can.
Yeah, without necessarily like giving away personal information, of course, because I think that's how most of us learn, is by watching other people do it. And then we do learn on set while we're struggling, trying to figure it out. But something that I wanted to say really quick, if you're an actor who hasn't been on that many sets, that to me, the crew eats first is less, in my experience, of like a SAG after thing or an IATSE thing, but more of an etiquette for on set. Like whenever I'm on set, I know that crew has been there since the first minute. I got there maybe on hour 2 or 3 as an actor, and then, oh, it's lunch on my hour, my hour 1, their hour 5 or something. So if you are on set, please at least offer. It's like when you go to a restaurant, somebody offers to pay, you're like, no, I'll pay. Like that to me is like everything. If you don't offer to pay back, not pay me back, but if you don't offer to pay too, I'm like, oh, you're just going to let me, I don't know if it's a cultural thing, but I feel like you need to offer, but then I'm definitely going to pay. It's similar when you're on set and it's like, they've been there for a long time. Even if they're like, no, you go ahead. You can say, no, you've been here longer. I really want you to eat. Please go first. if you're an actor, I think that's like a really good basic etiquette thing to do.
Yeah, learning the etiquette is really important. That's why before you do a feature film, it's really a good idea to do a short film, to get on set and learn some of the language. We did a short film last night with BraveMaker Academy. We had some people who'd never been on set before. It was really cool. And we would talk about we just use a different language. There's things like, back to 1, which means actors go back to the very first place you start before the scene. And then your 2 is where you end up in the scene. Or we're going to do this film, this scene MOS. We're filming it without the sound, without sound. So you need to educate yourself and get up to speed, because it does sometimes feel like things are moving very fast and they're saying a lot of things and you're like, I don't know what that means. So I would say no matter what, short or feature, ask questions when you can, make sure they're appropriate timing and to the right people. You don't want to bug the director or a producer to find out where the bathrooms are. Ask somebody who's not so busy, those kind of things, but that's feature or short. Okay. Other feature things I would say that I am learning is you have to be willing to carve out a lot of time. You cannot expect to make a feature film without daily communication with your team, lots of Zooms. So right now, this is the month of May, and it's a really busy time for a lot of people because there's schools. I have 2 graduations in my family. I'm having to cut out things because I'm sacrificing for this film. I have to be able to go, there's just things I can't do because I'm on a 2.5 hour Zoom, literally a 2.5 hour Zoom the other night, when I would love to be hanging out with my girls and watching a show or something like that. You have to be willing to put in a lot of hours and be blown up from text messaging your team sometimes when you're working your other job. It really is a learning curve of going, okay, I have to be so present because this is a feature film, and the requirements and the expectations from cast and crew regarding communication is huge. Even when you feel like you're communicating on the highest level as much as you can, we have documents and spreadsheets and we have a Slack channel and this and that, there are still going to be people going, I don't know where I'm supposed to be, or what script number are we on? We did a table read and all of a sudden somebody's like, oh, I don't have that page. And there was a number of our actors who were still using an old script. For some reason, we didn't get the correct iteration of that script to them. So just expect to also have to ask for forgiveness a lot, have to say, I'm sorry. Listen to people in any job when they call you out and they say, hey, this could have been better, or we need to change this up, or this isn't working. Go, okay, cool. How can I do better? Let me see if I understand what you're saying when someone brings something to your attention, when someone says, hey, I don't like the way this happened, or this hurt somebody, or this caused us to delay and we lost money because a decision was made without approval, especially when it comes to money. Just get a line producer. Have somebody whose main job it is to oversee that budget. That's something we don't have officially on this project. We're all kind of line producing. It's not working. We really need to have somebody whose main job it is to have that checkbook, to be updating a spreadsheet. We've got great software now for that. Our accountant, that's why we had to hire an accountant. Our accountant is going to be updating all the things. So every single day we're like, okay, here's the money that we have. Here's what we budgeted. Here's what we didn't budget for. How is this going to adjust, our schedule for next week? Can we have as many extras as we hoped for? Can we blah, blah, blah? It is so humbling. And we are doing something that we have been raising money for 10 years on. And that's the other thing I'll say too. One of my biggest regrets is waiting so long because of the money thing. And anybody's ever tried to raise money, this. People will say they're going to invest. People will say they're going to give, and then you're chasing them down. A production company is like, we want to help. We'll match the money. We're going to apply for a grant. People start going, we applied for 5 grants. And they start talking as if they got the money from the grant when you just applied for a friggin' grant. Y'all, hundreds of people are applying for grants. You can't act as if that money is in the bank or is going to come. And so we lost about 3 years, in my opinion, when we could have been making this film on what we had already raised through our initial WeFunder, which is like a crowdfunding equity investing platform, kind of like Seed and Spark or Kickstarter or whatever, but you can actually get investments. So at one point I was like, enough is enough. My friend Ed, our co-producer, died. I was like, we have to make this film. And I kept pushing, like, let's just make it. We can make something. It's hard regardless, but we would keep waiting. We probably wouldn't be in production right now if it wasn't like, we just said, let's make something. So there's no right way to make a film, but the waiting to the right time or the right amount of money will never come. You just got to figure out compromise. What will you give up? What can you do differently? What can you do with you have? This is making any film short or a feature. But I think especially for features, there are people, and I'm going to say this kind of bold, if you want to call yourself a filmmaker, you've got to make a feature film. You just have to. It has to happen. You have to write it, direct it, produce it. You have to do that if you want to be a filmmaker, and know that even when you make your first feature, which I've made, you're not going to break through sometimes with the first feature. You might not even make money. Okay, this is super transparent here, but I haven't made a dime on this feature. I'm putting my own money in. I've invested in my own film thousands of dollars, and that comes with not only just time but travel. Like I'm flying down to LA all month long. I'm paying for my own Ubers, and my hope is contractually that I will make some of this money back if and when the film sells and makes money. But this is a big gamble. There is no guarantee. It is a risk. So make sure you have those other jobs and you find other ways. That's why I've had to take so many other gigs, writing and producing industrial stuff and corporate content, to be able to stay afloat and pay the bills. It's very, very humbling.
Yeah. And it's never the right time to make a film. You never have the right amount of money. I produced Bernadette the Brave, which ended up being 8 episodes. We stopped at 8 instead of 10 for lots of different reasons. Of course, one of them was budget and time and just so many things. So I accidentally made a feature film because that's about 80 minutes of content.
Beautiful.
The episodes are going to be like 5 to 10 minutes. We're not sure. It's all on the cutting room floor right now. So I feel like I don't have any children, but people always tell me you're never ready. It's never a good time to have children. You just have to have them. And I feel like filmmaking is similar, where you're like you were saying, what do I have? Like, can I film the whole web series in my house, a feature film in my house? Can I write it so that it's all takes place in the daytime so I can use natural light, like things like that? Definitely. So yeah, like as a filmmaker, making a feature film sounds so insane, but so did being a full-time actor and content creator. And here I am, you just have to push yourself to do it. And of course, I'm so lucky. I have an amazing partner, and I've just been able to meet so many cool people like Tony that I can do stuff like this, like go on a podcast about once a month and reach out to him if I want to, let's do an interview about a director or whatever, you know. I just have so many great collaborators. But I wanted to ask you, and you can let me know if you rather talk about this like after you're done with the feature because you want to like digest it, but how has it been being the writer and not the director?
Oh yeah, I would love to talk about this. Kind of what I was alluding to about being a kind of producer that I want. I recommend it. It's hard. It's such a different part of the filmmaking. I prefer directing. I love directing, and I will always produce something or whatever I direct because it's important to wear that hat. I want that hat. But it's also, you have to be able to bite your tongue. You have to be able to go, I wouldn't do it that way. And here's the thing, and all filmmakers, you need to, and Belgica, you're good at this. You can't throw your collaborators under the bus. You can't go, well, I told you so. We should have done it that way. I knew this was going to be a problem if we cast that person or that location. I had a feeling. You got to be really careful with that kind of sense of pride because it can really erode trust and it can really cause resentment in your heart as a filmmaker with your collaborators if you're constantly doing that. So if you ever find yourself in a team or a crew where somebody is throwing things in your face, I have experienced this before. I'm not working with those people again. I don't want to work with those people again, right? So if I'm working with an actor who makes a different acting choice and I don't like it, and I'm just a producer, I can bring it to the director's attention. And kudos to my directors, Dave and Dan. There was a couple things where I just leaned over and whispered, and I don't want to be micromanaging, but there's a couple things where I'm like, hey, just continuity wise, I want to speak up for that, right? This is a film I want to be great. So I'm going to bring that to the attention. Sometimes as a director, you miss those things. So as a director, it's always great to be able to say, producers, yes, whoever, please alert things to me. But if it's like, hey, I was thinking about this and just wanted to bring that to your attention, and they go, no, I'm cool with it. This is what I want. I go, cool, great, awesome. And you walk away and you throw your hands up and you're like, good, support. But don't walk away and go look at your script supervisor or whoever. Go. You just don't want to create that kind of culture on set. And I've been a part of those too many times. It's just, that's toxic, those microaggressions. So I will continue to produce for other people. I want to produce. I'm doing a few right now for some of our BraveMaker fiscal sponsees, that's why I love fiscal sponsorship, because I get to open and say, hey, I'm looking to produce. I love producing. If you want a producer, let me know. I've got to do a few of those, and it's just really exciting to like really help launch and boost. And I love going, I wouldn't have done it that way, but that's your creative vision, and I want to support you. And that's the beauty of subjective art, filmmaking, and visionary cinema. It's like everybody's going to do it different. You give 10 filmmakers the same script, you'd have 10 different films, 10 different styles,
And piggybacking on what you said of like, oh, I told you so, I knew this wasn't going to work. I think a great way to, like, even if you do say it in your mind, because it's natural to be like, oh, I knew this wasn't going to work, this is the wrong thing. What you can do like after is have like a recap meeting, which I think I stole from you. And during the meeting, be like, okay, these are the issues. These are the things that went great during production. These are the things that didn't go great during this filming day, because we would have these meetings after each episode of Bernadette the Brave. And what you can do is be like, okay, what did we do wrong for these things that went wrong? And what can we do better next time? And then now, like you said, you have those notes. And so that's like a not at all passive aggressive way of wanting to problem solve. So you don't have to just like, keep your mouth shut forever. You can definitely fix it for future time. So you don't have to regret that location 6 more times.
100%. And the cool thing is when you're doing a feature film, you have the opportunity to reset multiple times. So it's like, okay, we had our first weekend, regroup. What really worked well? Okay, that was awesome. you know what, you were right, producer so-and-so, you said this and it happened. And when the producer receives that, they don't need to gloat, like, okay, cool, well, thank you for the acknowledgement, I appreciate that, let's just switch it up and we'll change it for next time and go, let's do better. And when you have a short film over a weekend, it's great because you go, well, then I'll use it on my next short whenever I do that. But when you're doing a feature film, it's like you have a reset every few days to be able to make things go better. And I really like that part of it because I want to, one of my big goals as a filmmaker is to really go with my gut. At the end of the day, I don't want to walk away saying I should have said something or I should have spoke up. I want to be able to speak my mind gracefully and peacefully to make the project better because I want this thing to succeed for everybody. And when you have a great collaborative team like that, they're going to be willing to listen, even when things are going to go south, because they do, or we're in the heat of a moment. We had to basically let somebody go from the accounting team that wasn't a good fit, and we had to hire someone else. We had to volunteer. It just wasn't working. There was too much work and things were falling behind. And fire quickly, they say. Hire slowly, fire quickly. If something is not working, get that person off the team quickly because it just is not a good fit. And it will really, especially if you're doing a feature film, I've heard, captains and key team leaders just, stay on the whole time. And the person's like, if we would have hired them the first day or two, we wouldn't have had this issue. So as a feature film, you got to look at that resilient perspective to be able to get through that whole film for the long haul.
What else, Tony? What else you got for me?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. We've already been talking 50 minutes.
Oh, wow.
I could talk longer, and I'm just trying to rack my brain on things. So just keep in mind, if you do a SAG film and you want to work with kids can only work a certain amount of time, and that's really challenging. And you have to have, if you do it on a weekday, the kids have to do 3 hours of school on set. So the kids will be on set for 9 hours, and 3 of those hours have to be doing a school. And guess what? You have to pay a teacher, not just any teacher. Like my wife, who's got a credential, who's a teacher in a public school, could not be it. They have to be an entertainment approved and certified teacher. It's called a studio teacher. So that goes back to budget and planning, all of the things. And it's a lot to consider, short or feature. If you're doing a SAG film, that is a requirement.
That's a whole nother complete episode is about working with children, because I was a producer on Pizza Monster, which was screened at BraveMaker last year, and we worked with a bunch of children. I thought the kids were so great. Some of them can be on camera for hours, and some of them just were over it, and then I play a mom a lot on commercials. So I have been on set where I'm like, I know what it's like to work with kids. And I had to convince the kids, I had to help the director, convince the kids hey, guess what? If we do this right, it means we're done. And they're like, oh, but we already did it 2 times, and that's the kids. You need to figure out how to talk to them. So it's just a whole different thing of working with kids. And I say, don't do it. But I as a producer, I would not want to do it anymore. But one of my favorite collaborators, Javier, the writer and director of Pizza Monster, he just writes so many amazing things from his experience as a kid. So I'm like, okay, I know I'm going to work with kids again soon.
Yeah. I mean, you need kids to tell a certain story. So just again, plan appropriately. And as you're doing a feature film, make sure you're asking questions. At the end of every meeting, do we have an agenda for your meetings too, by the way? Have an agenda.
We're talking about 3 hours.
That's right. We're talking about these 3 things today, and have an outline. And we're going to give 30 minutes to that, 20 minutes to this. Did we say everything we needed to say at the end? Okay, what are our follow-ups? Who's going to do what? Manage those tasks and to-dos. And as a producing team for a feature film, it's really important to have a lane. Sometimes people feel like that's a negative. Stay in your lane. But no. My lane is, we don't have a casting director. I'm doing a lot of the casting. I'm sourcing a lot. Right now, I just sourced a car because we need a really cool convertible car for our San Francisco shoot. Cool. I got that. Other people are doing the paperwork. Other people are doing the props and the catering, whatever. Make sure everybody knows what they are doing. And if you don't know who's doing what, you might say, I don't want to step on anybody's toes. One of our producers is really good at saying that. I don't want to step on anyone's toes, but did someone do this? Or I cannot do this. Is there anybody who can pick it up? Because I have too many things on my plate. Just saying those things are super important in communication for the long haul. And checking in with your team as a feature film for the long haul is super important to prevent burnout, because burnout can happen on a short film on a weekend. But on a feature film, wow, it can happen pretty quickly if you're not careful. So that's our conversation on the brutal truths of filmmaking. If you have any questions or comments about this here in episode 293, feel free to reach out. Belgica and I are very active on social media. We both love filmmaking. We both want to see people grow. And we're going to be having this conversation in person again at our film festival. So You Want to Make a Feature Film has been an annual workshop that we offer every year, and we bring in our feature filmmakers for the fest, which there are about 15 of them this year, which is super, super cool. And July 10th through the 13th is our 7th annual film fest. So passes go on sale soon. All of our program will be announced on May 30th. I'm very excited. We did a whole live stream last week announcing, and we're still adding some films now that we haven't even announced live yet. So it's very, very exciting. Come to Redwood City. You can go to bravemaker.com/filmfest. Sorry, bravemaker.com/fest. And you can get your hotels. There's discounted hotels available now through June, and plan your planes and all that kind of fun stuff. We would love it. Do you have time to stay at the end here to give me your favorite thing of the week?
Yes.
Brave faves. TV shows, films, books, songs, technology, clothing, podcast, food, and more. These are a few of our favorite people, places, and things. Brave faves.
All right. My favorite thing of the week is the studio. Have you been hearing about this or watching this at all?
I am drooling at how delicious those long takes. I've only seen the first episode. That's so good.
It's incredible, and like just making me love filmmaking even more, and maybe even feel like seen with my family, who I'm telling, like, you got to watch this because they're doing such a great job with the inside baseball. And you know, people are like, is it too inside baseball? People love filmmaking. They love behind the scenes stuff. They recently did a Golden Globe episode, and that's probably my favorite thing of the week. They kind of mocked and did a satire about awards, and I've always had this love-hate relationship with awards, and I love award shows, but I don't want to give awards or have competition at our film festival. And I thought it was just so cleverly done, the kind of tongue-in-cheek things about, well, I'm an artist. I don't think artists should be pitted against each other, but when no one's looking, the person's like, I want that award. I'll do anything it takes to get that. I love it. And it's also just shows how friggin' hard it is to be in this industry. You know, most people will never have these opportunities because they'll give up. And the people who persevere and pursue it with their whole lives will feel seen with the impact that it has literally on your ego and your physical body and your emotions and all the things. So besides being really funny, the studio is my favorite thing this week.
That is a very good thing. I just started it and I'm so excited, and I'm like convincing my partner, like, please, let's watch every episode.
Yes, need to. Yes.
So my favorite thing of the week is a little bit like my favorite thing of the month, because it is Self-Tape May, and it is an acting challenge, and I'm actually vlogging it all on my YouTube channel. But Self-Tape May is an acting challenge that happens every year in May, and it was created by Audrey Moore, who is an actress, and she has her own podcast called Audrey Helps Actors, a podcast. And this challenge is to do 16 practice self-tapes in the month of May, and they can be practice or they can be real. They can just be like one-liners that you say different ways. It's just about getting yourself on tape 16 times, and to show that if you want to participate in it, to show that you're actually doing it this year, you just show a heart somehow in your self-tape. And then if you complete the 16, Audrey will do a random drawing to choose a winner, and the winner gets a bunch of different things, like a year of casting networks and just like a bunch of acting related things. And now her podcast is SAG signatory and has like a certain, money that it's making. So now, a couple of episodes ago, a non-union actress came on, and because she was a guest on the podcast, she was now eligible to join SAG. So now I'm thinking, basically, you're raffling off becoming a SAG-AFTRA actor. Anyways, that's my favorite thing. And I'm on right after this, I'm filming a self-tape, and it'll be my number, I think, 12.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Belgica, you've been doing that for years. I've been watching and following. So that's so cool. And I love that. You are always giving so much to the acting community through your vlogging and YouTubing and Instagramming. So kudos to you. I love that we're connected and doing stuff. And I'm blown away too at all of the changes and ways that things can happen for people that, as you're saying, like SAG is doing podcasts now. Yeah, of course, because the podcast world is blowing up, and it's overwhelming and exhausting, but so exciting. Everybody keep going after your dreams. I thank you for listening to this or watching live. Please share this with someone or tag someone in the comments when we put up our quotes on our Instagram page, and share July 10th through the 13th for our BraveMaker Film Festival. We cannot do this work without you. I am excited to be able to announce hopefully soon our location for our BraveMaker Film Fest HQ headquarters. I am hopefully going to have that very soon, but we have so many cool things that are going to happen. You do not want to miss out. And I guarantee things will sell out, not because millions of people are coming, but because some of our venues only hold like 100 people. So sell out will happen. All right, cool. Thank you, Belgica, for being a part. And don't forget, everybody here who's watching or listening, we need your help. We've been at 53 monthly donors. Belgica is one of them since January. Okay, go to your phone, text the word BraveMaker, one word, to 44321. That's 44321 on a text, and text the word BraveMaker, and you can become a monthly donor. $5, $10, $25, $100. It helps. It really does. And I don't want to be an alarmist, but if we do not get more support, I don't know if we're going to be here next year. My optimism and delusion says we will. My hard work says we will. But the numbers sometimes don't always add up. And that's why we need you. Please become a supporter. BraveMaker.com/donate, or text the word BraveMaker to 44321. All right, that's it. Bye, Belgica. Brave stories change the world. And
you are the story.
Yeah, bye, everybody.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook at BraveMaker.org. Like, subscribe, and share. To become a monthly donor, text the word BraveMaker to 44321 or go to bravemaker.com/donate. Thanks for tuning in.